So, in our last module, we talked about how the fall of the Western Roman Empire, together with invasions from external forces, as well as a series of ravaging diseases, has really diminished European commerce, cultural, artistic activity. Uh, there's been a dramatic decrease in the population of Europe, and so on. As Europe starts to recover, we see the emergence of an intellectual or academic tradition. Universities begin to be founded, and the predominant philosophy, the predominant methodology, the predominant structure for education then is scholasticism. Scholasticism is a very conservative, sort of dogmatic approach to uh, intellectual inquiry in that it focuses almost exclusively on existing opinions, on arguments between them, and potentials for reconciliation between different views. We start to see that view begin to be challenged as the increase in artistic, cultural, and commercial activity during the European Renaissance provides enough economic and cultural stability for the emergence of a more rigorous empirical study about the nature of the world. And we saw that the scientific revolution, or the fruition of these early studies, appears and is associated with the publication of two major works, the first of which is Copernicus's On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres. This view, which is a view motivated by trying to understand astronomical data, making it as consistent and understandable as possible, in fact, advocates a view about the nature of the universe which is fundamentally at odds with the received view advocated by the church and the universities at the time. The traditional view, a view that was held, in fact, even by Aristotle in ancient Greece, was that the universe was a geocentric universe. That is, the Earth was the center of the universe and everything rotated around the Earth. What Copernicus does, and we should note that Copernicus is using data from Islamic astronomers, relying on insights from Islamic astronomers and developing his own theories. Right? There was a lot of intellectual activity outside of Europe in Islamic caliphates and other places during this time. But Copernicus is arguing for a heliocentric view of the nature of the solar system. That is, the Earth isn't the center of the universe. It isn't the center of the solar system. It is just a planet rotating around the sun. The sun ultimately is thought to be just another star in a very, very large universe. The second major work that helps to shape the development of the scientific revolution is a work by this fellow here, Andreas Vesalius. He was a physician born in current-day Brussels, and he publishes a 7-volume text on anatomy called De Humani Corporis Fabrica, on the fabric of the human body. And he publishes this in 1555. Now, you may think to yourself, oh, an anatomy text, fantastic. We have those everywhere. But, in fact, prior to this work, there was very little good anatomical knowledge out there. It was actually pretty much traceable back to anatomical research that had been done in ancient Greece, because there was either an outright prohibition or a strong stigma associated with, for instance, dissection of cadavers. And so there wasn't a lot of knowledge of the human body. But it isn't just the introduction of this systematic and detailed understanding of human anatomy that's important here. It's that it really emphasizes the physical and animalistic nature of human beings. Again, within the context of our scholastic, church-oriented academic institutions, the human condition isn't thought of in terms of being on a par with or continuous with animal conditions in the physical world. And the more that we find studies of human physicality, of seeing the human body, how the human body works, the less different humanity seems from other animals, the more physical the human body seems, the less spiritual and immaterial it seems. So both of these works then, the work of Vesalius and the work of Copernicus, challenged traditional theories of humanity and of the universe. As a result, they also challenged the authority figures in their respective areas, particularly the clergy and the clergy who were in charge of the academic institutions at the time. However, this period, starting around 1500 or so, going till 1700, sees this rapid transformation of human knowledge in astronomy, in biology, in mathematics, and physics. And together, with this increase in knowledge, there's a renewed emphasis on observation and experimentation. And it's into this world that we find Descartes beginning his intellectual activities. So in the next module, we'll start to talk about Descartes' notion about the nature of his knowledge edifice and how it operates. But I want to emphasize here that what Descartes is trying to do is he's trying to push back at the conservative and anti-empirical, anti-experimental trends of academia and educated people of his times. He's trying to make room for empirical, experimental inquiries into the nature, not just of the universe, of the physical world, but of the human body itself. And in fact, he spent a great deal of time dissecting animals mostly, but trying to develop, understand anatomy, human anatomy, and animal anatomy as well.